as you can see, I still haven't finished this painting. I have the saffron threads left to paint, but I'm almost done. This is the one that I'm working on mostly today. It's ocean surf sort of thing, surf and birds, I think she called it, or something like that. And it didn't work out. And I started drawing this one out, so I don't know if you can see there. But anyway, James said that I gave myself too much of a hook nose and some other things. So, but going from that picture, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll talk about the work that I'm doing on the paintings, and I'll mention that ocean-scape picture that she has on the back is not the demo picture that she did. This one actually looks better than her demo picture ended up looking, and it looks way better than mine. But the one that I'm going to do with the picture that I've drawn out of myself is that one. I'm going to do that as a Christmas card at the bottom of the page. And I'll talk about some things that I did with this. That's James's dinner for today. It's pretty instant. And power bowl, tzatziki and veggies, and that's that Haskell berry barbecue sauce.
Very good.
With it.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
So,
is it a local product, or did you check?
It's still top of the stack, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the General underneath because honestly, you can't watch it with the sound on. It's a silent movie, but you certainly can't watch it with the sound on because it's so annoying listening to the music.
Yeah.
So
people used to improvise those, right?
Yeah,
when they were in theaters.
Sure. So what you can do is when you watch a movie like this, this from 1926, by the way. What you can do is just put on your own music. So I was thinking of putting on like B-52s or something and seeing how that worked out or whatever. But anyway, it's basically watching these kind of movies. I have to watch it then, and then I can't be doing the painting or writing poetry. So it's really like watching subtitle movies for me. It doesn't work for me. So
You figure B-52s would be good with it?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
I might put the Ramones to it or something.
Sure.
Or Yes, or whatever. Anything that's kind of funny.
Yeah. So I made some notes. Oh, I brought these out, the cloths, because most of the color from this paint is there. It's on the cloths, and that's frustrating for me. I wanted to show you that. So Karlyn Holman used Antwerp blue for the wave, the water, and I didn't have Antwerp blue, so I mixed some ultramarine blue and Viridian hue green, and she said ultramarine's too wimpy, don't use that. But honestly, she used ultramarine in the sky, and you end up seeing the pigments there when you put ultramarine in the sky, and I don't like that. I don't think anyone would. But maybe she has a better quality paints that don't do that. I'm sure she has better quality paints than I'm using. But anyway, the sky was doing okay for me, and I had some problems. So
with the sky, or?
Well, I had some problems with this painting, as you can see. But I guess I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll go through my notes. She mostly rolled the color off with tissue paper. I used dried baby wipes. I lost all my white patches at the bottom of quarter of the page when I sprayed it to keep it wet. I went, oh, there goes my white. And it was very frustrating because after putting that much work into it and trying to get, like, she has you leave the bottom of the page and do that flicking thing so that you have some white and some whatever, right? So the white is like the ocean surf. And it disappeared on me, and it was very frustrating. Her wave picture on the box is not the same, I mentioned that. But still, she showed the techniques that she used to make the wave with seagulls, so you got it. It doesn't really matter which one she shows on the box or whatever, because you get the idea. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll try to fix my wave picture with some gouache. And then looking at it again, I'm like, should I even bother trying to fix it, or should I just start again? Yeah, I don't like putting so much paint on towels to throw out. That's very frustrating for me. I don't like throwing things out. So I don't like wasting things, and I don't like making garbage. So it's tough for me, all that. Anyway, so what did I have to talk about this? Well, maybe I should talk about the problems I have with this. So when I sprayed this, the bottom part was looking good, and then I sprayed it and it's gone. And I'm like, well, it still looks okay, whatever. And maybe I'll be able to fix it, right? And so I'm going, oh, okay, whatever, the whole time. And then when, so I had sprayed it and whatever, and I put the salt where I was supposed to, and the salt ended up going in places where it was not supposed to go. Like I have some salt holes up here and whatever. But
how
then,
did that happen? That
I just accidentally
you didn't
put it.
sneeze or anything like
I
that?
don't. Maybe
Yeah.
I did. Maybe I blew it. I don't know. But I certainly blew it. Anyway, so then I laid this down, and I guess the surface I laid it on wasn't exactly flat. I think that's what happened. So then wave water ended up, like blue ended up over here. So that's why there's a white patch there, because I had to get that blue out of there. And then I thought, no problem. I'll just go over this with another coat. Sometimes I do that. If the sky doesn't work, I just go, okay, I let it dry, put down more water, put down more paint, and let's see how it goes, right? And sometimes it works out. But then I noticed the salt problems, and I'm like, okay, where else is there salt now? So I can't do the put down more color here, or I'll end up with more salt problems. I'll just be activating the salt again to wreck it even more, perhaps. So, I don't know. But I do like the effects of the salt in the wave, where it's supposed to be. So that, and it gave me a nice pumicey experience. My fingers have never been so soft. I had to rub off all the salt, right? Or try to. But yeah, I might
It's
try
like
this again.
exfoliation, was it?
Yes. So, anyway. Now, how I got this picture on here is I drew it onto tracing paper. I've been drawing right onto tracing paper lately. But I drew it onto tracing paper, and then I rubbed it with a Q-tip onto here. And then it wasn't dark enough, so then I drew it over onto here. And honestly, I think it turned out better than on my tracing paper anyway. But we'll see. And I don't know, I think I'm going to put a fig tree or something back here. I'm not sure. But this
a fig
corner,
tree or a big tree?
Fig. But this is going to be that winter-scape down here. And we'll see how that works out. I was thinking of putting a Christmas tree with lights back here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want that. We'll see. I'm pretty tired.
What is fascinating about a fig tree? See, I had experience with fig trees.
Yeah,
they grew in Africa where we're at.
Well,
they're awesome big. They're huge.
Oh, yeah, that's good. But I don't know why people like growing Benjamina ficus.
Oh.
But
it probably depends on the variety.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But
we probably shouldn't have, but the figs would fall on the ground, and if you caught them fast enough,
yeah,
they were
that'd be a
great
different
eating.
kind of fig. Yeah. But it's always frustrating cleaning up after a fig. You have a fig there, and they drop their leaves, and you're like,
yeah, I know. You've had to do that as a plant person. I've had to do that as a janitor.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's see. What did I have to talk about with this? Oh, I still have to do the lines in the crocus, because Crocus sativus has really distinct lines in the, like, veinage in the petals. So I have to do that, and that's going to take me some time. It's going to be, you know, hair thin. I think I'll use the bamboo skewer to draw them on.
Was the bamboo skewer recommended by
What?
the?
No.
Oh, it's just something
is
you come
not-
up with.
Nobody's.
Oh, that's not part of the composition.
No, this is the assignment. Or
Yeah,
this
there
is
we
the lesson. Was up here, but and even I showed you on the box. I did not follow it very closely.
Pauline really personalized it. I'm telling you. Speaking of personalizing, she got real personality in Sam.
Yeah.
The cherry-headed conure there.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this one.
Pauline
So
is
as
very
much
good
as
at
the
getting.
other stuff didn't work out perfectly today, I think this one's gonna look good when it's done. I don't know, right? We'll see. But this one, I don't know if I should just start again. Or I was thinking maybe it could be a mixed media. Maybe it'll be like I was thinking of doing the gouache thing, but then I thought, okay, well I could just do soft pastels. I could make it a soft pastel picture. It doesn't really matter because I've already learned the techniques of how to do it from going through the lesson, and that's all that really matters. If now that I've internalized that and my hands have learned how to do that technique, you know, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I can do it later.
It's a hand to brain kind
There
of thing.
is, yeah,
hand,
with
eye
art.
to brain.
Yeah.
It's really important to
Yeah.
get the practice in. That's why I say there are some good artists out there. They're not coming through the universities unless they've actually taken some sort of College of Art design thing.
Well, I honestly, I think all you need to do is go through a bunch of these. There's lots of them from your public library. Just look it up.
This is true. I mean,
Try
you can
to-
do it kind of on your own, or you can do it with instruction like this. The thing with most people with instruction like this, it's like an exercise program. So they'd started on January the 1st, and by February the 1st, they've gone on to other things. Yeah. That's why you're doing such a good job, because you're applying yourself. Yeah.
You keep going, and that's like a lot of times. It's I've talked about it. It's scary, and I don't know why it is. You know, but you're worried. Oh, I don't want to waste paint. I don't want to waste paper. I don't want to do it wrong. I don't. And a lot of it, I think, with art is you associate it with coloring that you did when you were 4 or 5 or something like that. And so it really hurts you when you don't get it right, because you feel like, wow, you know, it's like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? And
Most people aren't.
no. I mean, you lose it, right? I was trying to do some math in my head to figure out, okay, how much bigger do I need to draw this to fit this page? And I'm measuring this, and I'm doing the calculation in my head, which is not very hard. You know, I measure the page space, and I measure this. It's easy math. But I was thinking, that can't be right, you know, and then I was like, well, I guess it is. And it turns out, yep, it is. I got it in there.
Well, that's good.
So, but things you don't do. Like, I remember when I was in high school and calculators knew how to do everything. I thought, well, why are we learning how to do this when I could just use a calculator? Well, you might not have a calculator with you. That's why. And yeah.
Plus, it helps when you're using a calculator to tell whether like if you can approximate.
Yeah, that's
if
right.
you've
You
messed
do
up
have
by
to know.
doing the data
Yeah,
entry.
you have to know. Okay, this is going to be between this number and this number for sure, or whatever.
It helps.
Or a decimal place. You know, it's good to know when you're off by a decimal place. Well,
Exactly right. So they
that's
talk about
important.
orders of magnitude. That's by factors of 10,
Uh-huh.
which is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So good scientists, I think, are good at estimating things to within an order of magnitude.
But anyway, what I was saying was when you fail at doing a picture, You feel like you're not smarter than you were when you were 4 years old, but that's not true. That's not accurate. You know, there's no way that I could have done this when I was 4. No way. So why would I feel that way? But I think we do. And
But
I think that's
some
what keeps
people
us from
starting
doing
off
art.
wouldn't be much ahead before.
Well,
one of
when
the
you
points
start
I make
off,
about-
it's,
yeah,
I mean,
when
you
you
have
start.
to put in the
You put in lots of time
and,
already in
and
art.
you have to keep up with it. It's like what I was saying about the math. Well, I haven't been doing math. And so doing simple math now, it's challenging for me. I remember trying to do long division.
Oh my God, yeah, it's
Which-
horrible the way they have you doing it.
I couldn't remember how to do it. I'm like, how is
Too
it I'm supposed to drop this down and whatever? I was having a hard time trying to figure out how I could do it. Well, you gotta know that stuff. You gotta remember it. So sometimes, like after I was doing the math today, I thought, oh, I better go brush up on math. You know, I better get something out of the library or whatever that'll help me with that, so that I can get that stuff back. And it won't take long to get it back to where I left it at, you know, because it's my brain will remember, oh yes, we did this before, and then it won't take as long. But anyway, you just have to keep pushing forward, keep learning, keep growing, and eventually things go well.
I think it's important to understand that
And not everything.
you have to be ready to be as clumsy or whatever, and not as unknowledgeable, if that's a word, as a child. Because so that's really what you got to do if you're going to start off with something. You don't necessarily have to tell yourself, I'm going to be right down at that level, but you got to be ready to humble yourself, you know? Or else you're not going to do it. You know, you get out figure skating.
Well, just don't get down about it.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean,
you get out figure skating, you're going to fall down. And if
Yeah.
you're not willing to fall down, then get something else. You know?
and don't worry about it when you fail. It's
Yeah.
just a little blip, whatever.
The good
if
thing
you
about
keep
art
learning,
is you're
and-
not doing it in front of other people. Figure skating, so often you'd be
and
taking
it doesn't
lessons.
matter. I mean, it's some paint and some paper. It's not really expensive. It doesn't really matter. When it comes down to it, I mean, these towels going in the garbage, does it really matter? I mean, I hardly put any garbage in the garbage.
Yeah,
So-
Pauline's
Yeah.
exemplary. I try to be good, but I'm not nearly as good as.
I mean, these were already used for something before I used them for this. And eventually, my used towels go for the art projects, and that's pretty much it for them. You know, there's not much I can do with it after that. Maybe mop up some dog pee. That's about
Yeah.
it.
Add
And I'm
another
gonna hit
color
the
too.
garbage. Yeah. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say, you're only really failing as long as you aren't trying. If you're trying to learn, then you are making progress. So just keep trying, and you're a winner. You're awesome. As long as you keep trying. If you don't keep trying and you decide, oh, I'm better than that, so I don't do it because I already know I'm so awesome or whatever, but really you're not doing it because you want to maintain that feeling of I'm so awesome without having to learn anything, then you're really not.
There are
And
a lot of people that are
there's a
that
lot of
way.
people
Not
that-
just
it-
about
I
the
mean,
arts, about
once you
religion.
get to be an adult, it's difficult to learn.
Academics have a real problem with that because they figure their PhD or whatever means they know everything. But yeah, when you start off in a new discipline, you're largely starting from scratch. So get used to it. It's not just the arts. It's sports. It's academic disciplines. Whatever. You know, just because you know French and English doesn't mean you have no clue about Arabic.
Oh,
you don't
and
even
I
know the
can't
alphabet.
stand it when universities, I had a really nice French teacher from France.
Well,
But
this was up north too.
no, here.
Oh, oh, that's right.
Yeah, you met her.
Recently,
She was
yeah.
lovely.
Mhm.
But
This is at
honestly,
university.
I can't stand it when universities hire somebody to teach a language when they're from elsewhere. They know that language, that's their first language or whatever, and they've been speaking it since they were a little baby, because they're not good at teaching it. And I can't stand it. I can't stand it when they hire them. It's just
She was a very nice person.
she was very nice, and I liked her very much, but honestly, so I'm not picking on her
No.
because I liked her very much, but I'm just saying, as a general rule, I would rather universities hire somebody who learned the language as an adult, because then they know what they went through to learn the language as an adult, whereas somebody who that's their first language that they've been speaking forever, they don't remember what they went through to learn the language, and they don't know how to teach it.
So an example is Mikhail Baryshnikov. He didn't become a teacher. Talking about his teacher. His teacher started, coach, whatever you want to call it, started tutor, started ballet too late to reach the heights. This is in the former Soviet Union. But he was an awesome teacher for Baryshnikov, and he kind of lived through Baryshnikov's.
Or Wayne Gretzky's dad.
Wayne Gretzky's dad. Now, Wayne Gretzky's dad, I gather, was kind of on the edge of making it into the NHL as a goaltender. And I don't know why they didn't use him as a coach or come up with a coaching program at the bottom levels for developing children. Because what he did with Wayne Gretzky, he's a goaltender. And what he said is, what drives goaltenders crazy? I'm going to teach all those things to my son. And holy smokes, what a phenomenal job he did. But the thing is, Wayne Gretzky tried coaching. No, it didn't work out. So there have been very few stars who've in sports who made good coaches, even decent coaches. It's the same thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
They've started when they were young. Gretzky's probably like 3 years old.
But Wayne Gretzky's dad started late, you were saying.
Well, it's hard to say. You know what I'm saying? But he barely made it. He was kind of on the lower, as I recall, on the lower. I don't know if he ever played a game. He's almost like Don Cherry. I think Don Cherry played one NHL game in his whole life.
I should say I use masking fluid. You can see masking fluid for the eyes, masking fluid for the saffron threads. Lots of masking fluid. Masking fluid for the boat, the birds, whatever. So I'm a big fan of masking fluid. But, and I used it here for around the picture frame, the fingernails, the eyes. So, because with the picture, not really picture frame, but the card edges, I'm going to be using moving the paint on the paper thing, and, her technique of lots and lots of water and whatever, and I don't want it spilling over the edges. Here, I want to paint some other picture around it, so I'm going to see if that's going to work out. I hope it will. Anyway, what else was I going to say about the art? Oh, she uses the rolling towel technique and the scrunched up towel to get the surf. And it was looking pretty good, but I have a staining. My paint is very much staining, and she's using non-staining paints. So she was able to get more white, like you can see on the back in her thing. She's getting more white and stuff because she's sopping up the paint in spots with the towels, and then she gets white paper again, but I can't get that with mine. So, anyway, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Well, I'll just mention I do know one star coach player who ended up being the most successful coach in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Hector Blake, better known as Toe Blake. For some reason, they called him Toe.
Oh.
But he, I think, coached for something like 15 years, and he won 9 Stanley Cups, if I'm not mistaken. 9 out of 16.
So you have about 4 minutes or so.
There's a coach who's won more, a guy called Scotty Bowman, but he coached for a longer time. Scotty's big mistake was he thought he was a general manager. Everywhere where he's been a general manager, he's failed. He hasn't won the Stanley Cup, at least. And but that's how he ended up not staying with the Montreal Canadiens, where he won 4 Stanley Cups in a row. And he won a 5th a couple of years, or 3 years before that. And he wanted to be general manager, and he was passed over. General manager of the Montreal Canadiens, and you could say he was messed around by the guy who'd been general manager with him, Sammy Pollock, or with the Canadiens for a long time. But Sammy Pollock just said to someone or another that Scotty didn't have the disposition. He'd come in crying to Pollock, "Get rid of this player, get rid of this player," and Pollock knew, I think, a little bit better than that. Sometimes you got to hold on to players. An example is Guy Lafleur. First 3 seasons in the NHL. I think the first season he scored 28 goals. Not bad. It's in the 70s. And then early 70s. And then his goal production went down from there for 2 more years. And then he just decided. One guy said he turned up training camp in his 4th year and he decided he's going to be the best player in the NHL. But, they were patient with him, and it worked. Sometimes you got to be patient with people. So, Scotty, the funny thing is, as an executive, not a general manager, age success again, he helped I'm sure he helped, his son with the Chicago Blackhawks. In the, about 10 years ago. I think they won 3 Stanley Cups. He might have been involved with the team all 3 times, so he would have been advising his son. After he left the Canadiens, he tried coaching and coaching and general manager with the Buffalo Sabres. Then he went back. I became a commentator, and then he went back to coaching with Pittsburgh. Won a championship there. And he won, I think, 3 couple or something like that, 2 or 3 with Detroit. Successful, but not like Toe Blake. Toe Blake was incredible. Demanding, but very patient. Apparently, he wouldn't really chew people out. Not like Scotty Bowman. But how much time? 2 minutes?
A minute.
So, but that's the only guy I can think of who was a star. I wouldn't call him a super duper star. He might have led the league in scoring one year. He was that good. And he played on Montreal's power play and stuff like that. I'm sure he played with Roger Boucher. So with Elmer Lach, Lach, and stuff like that. So get prepared. The weather's better, and I'm going to bring out the globe, and I'm going to be talking about catastrophism and ancient history. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of weeping and gnashing of teeth on the part of conventional scientists and stuff like that. So get ready, put on your seatbelt, helmet, and put in your mouth guard. Yeah.